think the ridiculous notion is for either one of you all to have the audacity to believe that you understand what the experience has to be.
I have to object to that.
But you just said
I cannot talk about it because I am not part of a group. I am a sentient human being. You're right. There's two ways you cannot understand something. One is to be too far from it. We're too far from it. We can't see like you can. One is to be too close to something. And then sometimes you can't see it accurately either.
Sometimes when you watch a political debate, the tension is so thick it feels like it could leap out of the screen. But every now and then, someone cuts through all the noise and exposes the nonsense for what it is. That's exactly what happened when Bill Maher, yes, the same Bill Maher who was once the golden boy of the left, decided he was done playing nice. Let's be honest, Maher has never shied away from controversy. Love him or hate him, he has a talent for slicing through fluff and striking right at the weak points in an argument. And in this particular episode, he didn't just offer polite pushback, he absolutely torched the woke talking points being tossed around the table. He ripped off the mask, exposed the cracks in their narrative, and left his guests scrambling to respond. Here's the real kicker. This wasn't some one-time moment. It's part of a much bigger shift. Maher has been steadily and publicly distancing himself from the modern left. He used to be their guy, anti-Bush, progressive on nearly every issue, constantly taking shots at Republicans. But today, he's in open conflict with the woke wing of his own political camp. And it's not subtle. He's essentially exiled himself from the liberal establishment.
The ridiculous notion is for either one of you all to have the audacity to believe that you understand what the experience has to be.
I have to object to that. I cannot talk about it because I am not part of a group. I am a sentient human being. You're right. There's two ways you cannot understand something. One is to be too far from it. We're too far from it. You can't see like you can. One is to be too close to something. And then sometimes you can't see it accurately.
Let's break down what actually happened. The debate kicked off with a surprisingly trivial topic: those end racism slogans plastered across NFL fields during the height of peak woke culture. For a couple of years, you couldn't even watch a football game without being reminded of your moral duties by the end zone paint job. Because nothing says Sunday fun like getting a lecture between touchdowns. The problem, of course, is that those slogans didn't actually solve anything. And Bill Maher called it out. When guest Tara Pulery tried to defend the practice, Maher didn't tiptoe around it. He went straight for the heart of the issue. He asked the question everyone had been thinking. Who is this really for? I mean, let's be real, if someone is genuinely racist, do you honestly believe that seeing end racism painted on the turf is going to spark some kind of moral epiphany? Come on.
All you have to do is ask my father, who literally was shot in the Orangeburg Massacre, right? Who helped found SNCC, who marched with Marion Barry and Stokely Carmichael and Martin Luther King, and the list goes on and on and on. And he will tell you today that he feels like this country's in 1954. And so if you want to talk about somebody...
That doesn't mean it is. Well, you said he feels like it.
Maher's point was brutally straightforward. Slogans don't change reality. They don't make racists any less racist, and they don't make non-racists any more virtuous. They're empty gestures. And honestly, that's been the woke playbook for years. Slap on a hashtag, add a rainbow filter, print a slogan on a t-shirt, and declare it progress. Meanwhile, real issues like crime, inflation, border security, and foreign policy get pushed to the back burner because they're actually difficult to solve. And here's the thing, the public caught on. Companies eventually realized that catering to outrage mobs on social media didn't sell products. It alienated a massive chunk of their audience. That's exactly why those end racism slogans quietly disappeared from the Super Bowl field. It wasn't because of Trump, and it wasn't some sudden moral awakening by the NFL. It was because the performative pandering had started to backfire.
I am that. I know. So, what I am saying though is for you to discount my father's experience and say
I'm not discounting it.
And to say it was silly,
I'm not.
Well, he was shot.
No,
Were you shot?
No, but he's still alive. Like he's right here. Like,
right, but the idea that if I were to say to you, as a Jew, that the experience of Jews in the United States today is worse than the experience of Jews in Europe in 1939, I would not be stating accurately.
Correct.
It's not true. And it's also not true to say that the experience of black people in America in 2024 is worse on a general level than the experience of black men in 19...
And Maher nailed it. When the outrage mob loses its grip, corporations quietly shift back to business as usual. It was never truly about fighting racism, it was about protecting themselves from online backlash. Now, pause for a second. Do you agree with Maher? Sure, raising awareness has its place, but awareness without real action is just noise. And honestly, most Americans are tired of being lectured during football games. Sports used to be an escape, a break from politics. But woke activism turned arenas into lecture halls. And that wasn't even Maher's biggest moment of the night. Things got even spicier when Barry Weiss brought up the classic argument that outsiders can never fully understand the experiences of other racial groups. You've heard the line before, you can't speak on this issue because you're not part of it. Maher pushed back with a perspective that's rarely voiced. He argued that sometimes, being too close to an issue can cloud your view just as much as being too far away.
Of privileged mean girls complaining about privilege and trying to make fetch happen. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed.
Think about that for a second. We're constantly told that lived experience is the ultimate truth. But Maher pointed out something obvious that few are willing to say. When you're fully immersed in an issue, it's easy to exaggerate, misinterpret, or lose sight of the bigger picture. It wasn't a popular take, but it was honest, and saying it live on air took guts, especially when he was addressing someone whose own father had lived through the civil rights era.
Actually see women and people of color, and it doesn't look like some patriarchal racist nightmare. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but your feelings, look at this chart. Yes, there's a lot to not like already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis.
But Maher didn't back down. He said, look, I respect that experience, but it's simply not true to claim that Black Americans in 2024 are living the same reality as Black Americans in 1954 Alabama. And he's right. Does racism still exist? Of course. Are there real challenges? Absolutely. But to pretend that America hasn't made enormous progress is just dishonest. We've had a black president. Twice. There are black Supreme Court justices, senators, billionaires, CEOs, and even a black female vice president. Opportunities that were unimaginable in the 1960s are now part of everyday reality. That doesn't mean everything is perfect, far from it, but the idea that nothing has changed is simply false.